Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Studio GDT Reviews. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at a relative newcomer to the market, and that is Katana-US. Katana-US is primarily servicing the European market in the past and has recently tried to branch out and break into the US market. I found that they are very helpful to deal with, easy to communicate with, customer service is top-notch, and they tend to, in my opinion, do things a little bit differently than the majority of companies out there are doing. We're going to take a look at some of those things in this review, and we'll go over them. For some of you, that might not be new, what they're doing, but a lot of what they've done is new to me. And when I received the sample, it was definitely a surprise, and I would say boosted my experience and my excitement in taking a look at this sword. So let's take a look at a little bit of what the company has to offer on their website and kind of the mindset as I went into taking a look at this newer manufacturer, I should say, and decided to bring their product to you to see, can this new kid on the block hang with the pros? Can they hang with the big dogs? Is what they offer being offered at a valuable or reasonable price point? Are the options there? Is the build quality there? In other words, are they going to make it? So let's take a look. But first, the legal stuff. As a reminder, I am an amateur martial artist and I am an amateur sword reviewer, so please take anything that I say with a grain of salt. My opinions expressed here are my own, and I am not portraying myself as any sort of expert. This sword reviewed was sent as a review sample. If you think that that might change my opinion or I might be biased with that, you can leave. But hopefully you stick around and check it out. The sword we're reviewing today is called the Blood Pill and comes in at about $360. It's a T10 differentially hardened blade. It was the first sword that I saw in their lineup that truly felt like a dojo sword. But as I was browsing their custom build setup here, as you can see, they've got some rather unique furniture options. Yes, there's some of the standard Longshuan parts bin type things, but there's also some additional types of fittings that I've never seen before. So I wanted to take a look at this Blood Pill sword, which it was attractive to me at a glance and looked like it would be something that I could utilize in an effort, hopefully, that maybe we could take a look at another sword in the future that utilizes some of these unique fittings options. The site's very clean and easy to navigate. I don't think that there's any issues with that. One thing I would say, however, is that the descriptions on some of the swords are a little bit lacking. So if I could make a suggestion to Katana-US, it would maybe be to unify how they describe things, maybe be a little bit more specific on the makeup of some of those things. You know, we'll talk about the material of the Tsuba, but not necessarily the Fuji and Kashira. So I think they could make a couple of small tweaks there that would really go a long way to making people happy, because as you can see here, they do have some interesting assortment of parts that are not ultra common. When I received the sword, I was pretty blown away by the presentation of everything. I know the display box is not something unique to Katana-US and that plenty of other manufacturers do something similar to it, but it was new to me. So when I took it out of the box, I kind of went, wow. And then I opened up that box and I was further impressed by the overall presentation of everything. It comes with what looks like a 3D printed, very simple single sword kake, but that's helpful. If you don't have one, then it's helpful. I've used it. It comes with a brochure, 3-foot brochure introducing the team, all the team members, a discount for future purchases, a certificate that has all your sword's information on it. I will say the certificate does look similar to one that Hamon Forge does, but it is slightly different and not quite the same. Now, if the box, if the sword stand, if the certificates, if the discount, if that wasn't enough, you also get a non-standard sword bed with it. So right out of the gate, not even having taken the sword out of the saya yet, I was pretty excited about what I had received. Pulling it out of the box, we see a very attractive red and black saya with some ribbing, red and black heavy-duty sageo, and some good-looking quality molded furniture. On first inspection, I was surprised to see a fairly defined Haichi Suka shape with a very, very straight outer edge and then a pretty pronounced curved inner edge. The Kashira features a highly detailed wave motif. There are no rough edges. The casting is pretty tight. It is level with the Suka. The knotting at the end of the Ito wrap is a bit bunchy and does move around a little bit, as you will see. The alternating Ito is present, and we have real Samigawa panels, pretty quality Manuki, and one thing you will see here, however, is there is no Hishigami, and the Ito does move somewhat. It does not move as much as some other manufacturers that are out there that are known for having good quality swords, but it does move somewhat. So if I could make a recommendation to Katana-US, would be to tighten up the knotting and the Ito a little bit. Otherwise, they've got a pretty solid Tsuka. The detail and alignment continue to the Fuchi and the Tsuba, and taking a look at the Tsuka, you'll see that it's got a nice shape to it. There's no odd protrusions or bulges on it. The Tsuba features what looks like a ninja riding carp, which is interesting. A little more gold than I would care for, but it's not terrible and could easily be changed. All in all, I think from the Kashira to the Tsuba, it's a pretty good looking sword. Tone down the gold a little bit. Might look a little bit better. You could always change that if you wanted to, but it's not bad. And everything done up until this point is done fairly well. Could be a little tighter, but we're okay. Moving on to the saya, it was an area that I didn't expect to be impressed and was heavily impressed. The fit was excellent. The sword to saya fit was excellent. And then in inserting the sword into the saya, there was a nice kind of gradual retention and then a click when you really wanted it in place. So breaking free was a definite act. Also, once in the saya, there was practically no rattle whatsoever. It was easily the least rattly of all swords that I currently own. At a far glance, it may look like there's some rattan in place, but looking up close, you can see it's just some grooving, but it's done well and it looks good. I really enjoy the overall design. Now, it appears that the wood that the saya is constructed of is nothing to write home about, but the care taken to the Koiguchi area is better than probably 8 out of 10 swords that I've seen so far. I was very impressed with it. The sageo is of the heavy-duty artificial silk type in an attractive red and black that I think goes with the overall theme. The paint in the saya was relatively well done. There weren't any major issues or runs, and I think they did a pretty good job. I'm pretty impressed with it at this point. Time for the flashy bits. This sword features a T10 differentially hardened blade. It has a mirror polish with a sawtooth or feather type Hamon, depending on how you want to describe it. And it is pretty beefy. If you take a look here, the Habaki fit is actually quite impressive for a sword of this price point. You'll see there's not a lot of room to either side of it. It's fit quite well. I wasn't expecting that either, just like I wasn't expecting the quality saya fit on it. Everything is nice and aligned properly. We're, again, looking good. As I mentioned earlier, one area where Katana-US could improve would be the statistics on their website. So this does have about the standard kind of 1.6 centimeter of sori. They don't list that on the website. So again, people trying to decide what would fit best for their body dynamics or their intended use, they could definitely put a little bit more info on it. Taking a look at the construction, the mirror polish is mirror polish, nice and flat, no ripples, blade flats look good, construction is on point at this point. Now you'll have to bear with me here because one of the most unique factors of this blade, the Hamon, was the most difficult thing to capture. I tried multiple angles, multiple light sources, indoors, outdoors, and I just couldn't capture it appropriately. It does have a very, very active Hamon. It has a boshi on it. It has a cosmetic yokote, but it was just almost impossible for me to photograph, so you'll have to take my word for it. If I can find some different way to do it, I might round to it here, but it's a good looking sword. It would be interesting to see what this sword would look like with a different polish on it, but I'm happy with it, and it feels great, and it's solid. So in wrapping up, this might not have been the most traditional looking of blades. It might not have had a traditional looking Hamon. It might not have had necessarily traditional looking furniture to a point, but I think the total package of everything that Katana-US offered was a win. I think when you take a look at the price point and you look at the quality of the sword as a whole, I think it is in alignment with what you see out there. There may be some people who do a little bit more for a little bit less, but there's definitely some people that do a little bit less for quite a bit more. And then when you take into consideration the presentation of the entire purchasing process, so your shipping's covered. They've got an inspection period, 30-day guarantee period on it. You got the free box. You got the free little mini stand. You got the free non-standard sword bag. You got the kind of welcome brochure and the discount code. You got the build certificate. You got a business card. Business card doesn't mean anything? No, but it's all about presentation. So I really liked what it was, and taking a look at some of the options that we looked at earlier on their custom build site, it definitely made me want to explore Katana-US a little bit more. I hope in the future, maybe they offer on their website some slightly more traditional designs as they break into the US market a little bit more. Maybe that works a little bit better in Europe than it does here, and our offerings are a little slimmer. But definitely having something a little bit more kind of dojo-centric, I think would help and would go a long way. And then, of course, hopefully I get to present to you one of their custom build options, and we take a look at some of those unique fittings that they have in the future. So wanted to give a special thanks to Remy and crew at Katana-US for making this review possible, and we hope to bring more from them to you in the future. Hope you enjoyed it. Check them out on their socials. They're pretty new. They don't have a lot. Make sure you like and subscribe, show them the love. And then, of course, if you like this video, like and subscribe as well. So have a great night, and thanks for stopping by and checking out another review.